This is Will Montgomery, former Washington Redskins center.
Yo, what's good, folks? This is Trey Johnson, the headbanger, yo, and you're listening to Mess Hall with Rally Captain and Tailgate Ted. Word.
Happy Victory Monday, Rally. How you doing, man?
Hey, happy Victory Monday to you, my brother. I'm doing excellent. Not only did we get the win on the field, Don't Sleep Energy Drink just came back to us, and we are back on board with Don't Sleep Energy Drink. So I am doubly happy.
You and me both, man. Let me tell you, I was up at 5 this morning. I had to go into Fox 5. I don't want to say I had to. I was blessed to go into Fox 5 this morning, but before I went in, and you know how it is being at the stadium, we don't get a chance to see every angle of the game and get a true grasp on what actually happened. So I went back and watched every single snap from multiple angles, every single Jayden throw attempt in slow motion, because I wanted to make sure I knew what I was talking about when I get in there. It is now Monday at 4:30. I got 4 hours of sleep last night. And let me tell you, I had 2 don't sleeps so far today, and I'm going to go play pickleball after this. So I might have a red berry shot before I get out there. So, yeah, it's been a long day, man.
Brutal. My gosh. Well, I haven't had the need for one just yet. I was able I walked. So you asked me to tell you how many steps I took. Well, I took 15,290 steps, and that equates almost 7 miles. Woo! So that's what I transversed around the parking lots to see everybody. I never would have imagined that a day in my life, and I never honestly I don't even want to know anymore, because it just makes me say no, don't do that anymore. But I've been doing that when we play at home, and I'm just amazed by that. So, hey, it is what it is. But the 15 to 20 tailgates that I go to, everyone's happy. I'm happy to see them. And let me tell you, just the all-around effect at Northwest Stadium yesterday was off the chain. It really was.
I mean, I only got to see my parking lot, and that's why I love it when you recap what you experience walking around. I mean, there was some blue. I'm not going to lie. I definitely saw some blue there. There was some Kelly Green for whatever reason. I don't know why they were Eagles fans. I mean, we had our DJ, Mark was back, our crew DJ. It was great to see him. And he loves to give Cowboy fans and Eagles fans a hard time, especially when they're not even playing that day in Raljon. And there were a couple times he called them out. I'm not going to lie. I might have had a couple of cocktails, and I grabbed the microphone and called him out too, because I think there was a Commanders fan walking with an Eagles fan. I might have yelled, "Watch your wallet" at one point. So, hey, it's all fun and games, just joking around.
Yeah.
But, at least at my tailgate, I hadn't felt that kind of energy in a long time. And I want to hear from you, like, 15, 20 you visited, like, what was it like? What were people saying? What were they, asking the rally captain?
Just they always ask me, one of the biggest questions is, how are you able to go to all the games? And I say, well, that's something that you need to listen to DMV Mess Hall, because we talked about it on one of our pods. And so then they say, well, I never knew you had a podcast. And I say, well, now you do. So make sure that you subscribe and share. And so that's one of the first questions. The other questions is, does the team pay you? And no, the team doesn't pay me. Those are the first 2 big questions that I always get asked. And then, of course, well, how you doing? And do you want something to eat or whatever have you? And how do you think we're really going to do today? Give us what you think. Tell us what you think. And so I said, this should be a win for us. I was wrong about Tampa, but maybe that was just the homer inside of me wanting to win. But
maybe
I said, hey, Tampa looked good this past week. They really did.
They beat the Lions too. Yeah, I mean, Tampa's legit right now.
They really are. So 2-0. But I said, no, we really should beat the Giants. And let me tell you, with systematic seismic, I mean, hey, we're good to go, brother. You know, we don't have that that void in our kicking team as before. So I'm gonna ride with the brother.
Oh yeah, I'm right there with you. And you might have to take a screenshot of your season ticket invoice so you can prove to people that you actually pay for your season tickets. Because I
Oh
used to get
man,
the same thing, man. It's like, oh, the team must. What did they give you? It's like they don't give me. I pay for my tickets, right? It's like I go through the same stadium entrance that you go through to get inside. Like I don't
yeah,
get any VIP access or this and that. If anything, I piss them off more than anything at this point because of some of the things I say. And I pissed them off yesterday to a degree, and we'll elaborate on that here in a minute. But it does crack me up because people always love to get in other people's pockets. How can you
hmm
afford to do this? How can you afford to do that? Like, oh, you went to Miami, but you didn't go to Tampa? It's like my trip to Miami was free, right? I went there on a free trip with the Nationals. So yeah, free doesn't cost anything. Right. And Tampa would have cost me a lot. And I also didn't want to. I think my boy Tim, Tim from the barbecue
yeah.
at tailgate, he lost, I think it was 9 pounds in water weight, even though he drank his weight in beer.
I can
Right.
believe that. I
I
can believe
mean,
that. You said you didn't want to go because it was going to be sweltering hot, and I should have listened. No, I take that back. I
you're
will
going
always
anyway.
go.
Let's be real.
Yeah, I will always go. But it was very, very hot, and let's just say that there are a lot of odorific people there. That's all I'll say.
You might need to bring some little body spray things in your
Act.
pockets. Yeah, yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Just spray the guy next to you. It's like nothing. Pretend you're spraying yourself, and really you're just going underneath and pointing it right at them.
That's a
So
good
Mrs.
one.
Tailgate actually put some in my tailgate bag because after sweating my ass off, and I got out to the parking lot at 7 a.m. We filmed a documentary company reached out to me, said they want to do a thing on tailgate chefs and tailgating in general. So we got the blessing from the team, and they came out at 7 a.m. They met me there, and they documented everything from 7 a.m. until we closed down at 12:45. And I didn't have my watch on me, but I'm gonna have to do that next time to find out how many steps I got in, just going back and forth. But I'm just glad pickleball's got me into shape because I would have been dragging a hell of a lot more than I was. But
Yeah.
man, I could when you can smell yourself and you know you're right, because there's sometimes when you can't, but someone
That's
else
when it's
can.
bad.
But yeah,
That's when
when
it's
you can
bad. Yeah.
actually smell yourself and know,
Yeah.
damn, yeah, that is me, because there's literally no
I'm
one
a little,
standing around me.
I'm a little ripe.
Yeah. Oh, I was right. I mean, especially standing over two deep fryers going to
Yeah.
like 375. Yeah, I was definitely right. So I had to hit some Axe spray on myself and do that. But man, we had a heck of a tailgate. We're actually last year we raised money for breast cancer, almost $8,000. This year we're raising money for lung cancer, and in 4 days we've raised $1,200.
That's awesome.
So just
That's awesome.
happy to see it. A couple of my crew members had family members that passed away from lung cancer. So we're just trying to give back. And this one's kind of personal for us. So, we always like to support a charity. And this year, that's the one that's going to be. And it was a
hmm
blast. And the vibe at our tailgate was freaking amazing. And I'm hoping this is how it's going to be, because the past couple of years, it felt like, I don't want to say, I think the only way I can classify this, it felt like a wake, right? You're there with your friends, you're hanging out, and you're honoring something you love, but it's kind of depressing. This wasn't that at all. And last year, Snyder was gone, but he still had his fingerprints on it because of Rivera and everything else. This
Yeah.
year, it wasn't the cloud is lifted. The thing is just gone. It is just, I can see clearly now, and that's what it felt like being out there. And
hmm
it was just amazing, man. It really was.
So the FedEx Field curse may be gone as well. I mean, Northwest
Undefeated.
Stadium, we're undefeated. There you go. We are undefeated, brother. So I look forward to keeping those same vibes going, and taking this thing into Monday Night Football. But before we get into that, like you have your charity, everyone knows that I am a huge uh, Red Cross charity giver. I believe in it's near and dear to me. Cancer is near and dear to you. Giving blood and supporting the Red Cross is near and dear to me. And I always tell people, not everyone can give, and I understand that, but if by a chance you can give, you may save a life, and it could be your own by somebody else giving you blood that you sent out to somebody else. So you just never know. You never know.
You never do. You never do. And I know a lot of people say, "Hey, I didn't know you had a podcast." So I didn't know that you were, helping the Red Cross out or doing this, doing that. Well, you listen to the podcast and you find out certain stuff about us. So, make sure you actually share this to get the word out to all those other people. But did you see walking up to the stadium, the big piggy bank that they got out there?
So I didn't go in that particular entrance. After walking around the stadium, where I went in the backside, so I didn't see that. Well, that was by the Solar Man, right?
It
In the
wasn't
front.
too far from the Solar Man, like
Yeah,
the
I
big
didn't
main
go that
gates
route.
right there. So
Mhm.
I went up there after the game. I'm walking around with Mrs. Tailgate, just kind of soaking it in. I went to the team store, and I've been wanting to buy the new shoes, even though I said I'm not going to buy anything. But
Mm.
every time I try and design some Commanders, Nikes, or Air Force Ones, they look like Ronald McDonald shoes, man. I mean, I can't do it properly. So I got to leave this to the pros, right? Oh, did you see my outfit for Fox 5 this morning, by the way? Speaking of Ronald McDonald.
I did not. I'm basically literally just getting able to get on socials.
So the team brought back the gold pants this week.
Yes.
So I decided to bring back the gold pants. So I had a pair of gold pants on
You you
that,
you
oh
put
yeah,
on you put on a pair of gold pants. Okay, now I'm gonna have to watch this.
I own a pair of gold pants and I put them on and I wore them on TV. And it's one of those things where, I don't have a teenage daughter, but I kind of equate it to this analogy. Like, they run out the house before you give them approval what to wear. That was basically me this morning running out the house without letting the wife see what I was actually going to wear on TV because I knew she wasn't going to approve. And then I got you look like Ronald McDonald.
Oh,
And afterwards, I'm walking around downtown Bethesda at 10 o'clock in the morning, rocking my gold pants and rocking this polo. And I've got my Commander's little Stanley Cup here, just walking down the street. And no joke, a couple people just turned their heads and stared at me like it was a traffic accident. Like, what the hell is going on right now, man? It was, not gonna lie, I started laughing when I saw all these people staring and getting a glimpse. But yeah, I'm thinking about buying these Nikes because I don't want to actually add the Ronald McDonald shoes to the outfit, and at least the new Nikes look legit, in my opinion.
well, man, the last pair that I can remember buying um was probably obviously when we were still Redskins, and I think that they had like a crisscross yellow and burgundy pattern in them, and those things were just uncomfortable. But they say that these new Pegasus are off the chain
These are
comfortable.
nice.
Yeah. So I'm still behind the times. I've got my one of a kind, Air Force Nike Air Maxes rather, the ones that I took off of work to get, and I and I was able to get them, and I still
So
rock
you didn't
those.
customize them. You actually,
No,
okay,
yeah,
gotcha. I was gonna say, if you customize them, help a brother out because I
no,
cannot. I am horrible at
yeah.
it.
I took off once I found out that they were having a limited edition. I took off of work, and I mean, I played the game and just and I got it, and I was like, yes,
Damn, I missed that.
yeah.
I gotta
So
work on that. But the new Pegasuses, they are comfortable as hell. So
they
that
look like
might
they
be
are.
something I break down and actually buy because I've
Do
been
it,
holding off so far. I do have a couple of gift
do it.
cards for my birthday, so I might,
See,
I might. So we'll see how it goes.
do it.
But getting into the stadium, how was that for you?
Well, I gotta tell you, with the gold pass lanes, it was excellent. They did a really good job, and I love the fact that the only time that the magnetometers will go off if you've got something really bulky in your pockets. I mean, if you just got the regular stuff, you're gonna go right through it. And I love that new technology, and it's a blessing. You don't have to take everything out of your pockets. You don't have to try to, unless you just want to do that because you don't want to have to go back. For me, I will try to take out stuff because the last thing I hate is I hate having to to go back and forth, back and forth. Well, take this off, take that off.
Yeah.
So it's just easier for me just to take things off, a couple items, and just walk right through and pick it up on the other side. I like that. And so there are a lot of people who are just able to breeze right through.
I
think
just
that
wish people would realize, just walk. You don't
Yeah.
gotta stop. Just walk.
Yeah.
That was
You don't
I
have to be
mean,
a
that was the only thing
robot.
slowing it down. It's like if
Yeah.
someone hits their brakes in traffic, then everyone slowly hits their brakes behind them,
Yeah.
and it just causes a back. Just keep walking. Like people
Yeah.
just realize this is how it is. It's fine. But I don't know. So I went to 3 different entrances, right? And maybe it's because of the time I got there, they didn't have the gold lanes. When I talked to the staff, they said, no, 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 they're not working today. It's like, what? So I went to Legends Plaza, and then I went to the piggy bank entrance, and then the Solar
Huh.
Man entrance. They didn't have them. So they shut them down at that point. The line was in the street to get in. Like,
Dang.
you've got to be kidding me. Like, what the hell is going on right now? So I've got my radio that I bring with me so I can listen to the game. And no joke,
Did you miss kickoff?
I missed kickoff, right?
God
So
dog it.
I'm listening on the radio and I'm jumping up and down. I'm yelling and screaming because Bram and Logan are like, they're calling Austin Eckler's running back. It's what? You gotta be kidding me. We're missing this. He's running a kickoff back for a freaking touchdown. Like, what the hell's going on? And I'm yelling touchdown, and everyone's staring at me like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Like, Eckler just ran it back for touchdown. And then there's one guy's like, nah, this is gonna get called back. There's no TV. He's not listening to anything. He's just being a negative Nancy. And he's like, and then I said, yeah, it just got called back. And I blame you. That jackass sitting
You,
there with the Commander's jersey. That
you,
just bad luck. Yeah, bad
you
juju.
put the aura in the air, and look what happened. It came back negative. God
So
dang
what
it.
was it like in the stands, man? Because I missed it. I didn't get in until I want to say it was maybe 10 to 7 minutes into the actual first.
So obviously the ball's kicked off, and it's kicked off in my end zone. And all of a sudden it's like, oh wow, 25, 30, 35, 40. Oh my God, a tackles, bro. What the hell is going on? And it felt like he could go all the way. And sure enough, touchdown. And all of a sudden, you see the bench pointing, and sure enough, daggum flag, man. And that really pissed me off because I haven't seen a touchdown return from the new kickoff. I know they have had a team that has done it. I haven't seen it. And so to be able to witness it and how he was able to, Eckler is just shifty as hell,
Oh,
man.
hell yeah, he is.
I mean, I love that from him. And so to see him be able to wind his way around and then for it to get called back, dude, man, I was pissed off. I really was.
I mean, Eckler reminds me of a bigger Chris Thompson, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Because Chris could just duck and dive, but he couldn't really take a hit. He was smaller built. Eckler
Mm-hmm.
can dish him out too, right? And
we saw
I went
that.
back. Oh yeah, we definitely did a couple times. I mean, some of his pass protection, Eckler just picking up that blitz and just laying it into linebackers and defensive tackles coming in. But I went back specifically and watched that play in slow motion. And for those wondering, we also have a YouTube. So this will be on the YouTube. I'll put clips of the game on there. You can actually see where Graham Gano is trying to chase Eckler. And then you see him pull his hammy right there. And that immediately changed the dynamic of this game. I mean, losing their kicker on the very first play that didn't even count. I mean, talk about a backbreaker right there.
Yeah. I didn't know the severity of it because once again, it's live. You know, I really can't see it. I'm not focused on the kicker. I'm focused on Austin going on the other side of the field, scoring a touchdown. So I focused on that, and as well as my eyes darted back to the flag.
Yeah.
So I missed that. And I really didn't understand what was going on until the extra point, and the guy kicked it wide right.
The punter.
Then the punter, the punter lined up and wide right, and then it hit me. Oh wow, I it all makes sense now. So I'm gonna have to invest in a little radio, bro, like you. I mean, I wear my shocks, at the game. But sometimes, you need something that actually covers your ear or something that's louder. The shocks obviously don't give you
Nah,
all
they're
that
not as loud.
sound that you,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll send you what I got on Amazon. I mean, it was no more than $20 and it's
Hmm.
just digital. You're maybe 2 to 3 seconds behind the play, but I could hear Bram talking to Logan about different stuff that you just miss. Like, okay, what happened here? Like
Yeah.
when Jayden got knocked out, what were you thinking in the stands when he took that run?
I was like, oh boy, here we go. I don't want this to happen to this young man. Hopefully it's nothing that's bad. And then find out that okay, he had the wind knocked out of him and he got up, to gather himself, he got back up and then he had to trot over to the sidelines because he was out, he had to go out for a play. But then when he came back, I was like, oh, thank you, thank you. And it's one of those things, man, to where if you pray to a higher a higher a god or whatever have you, everybody's like, oh please God, no, whoever you pray to, that's what it felt like. And so the fact that he was able to get up and go up on his own and then make it back, that made everybody feel good because the air was kind of like let out of the stadium for a brief second. How'd you
Yeah, it
feel?
happened. It happened right in front of me at that point. So I could see everything happening. I could see it develop. And then I
Hmm.
saw Jayden take the hit, and you could kind of see him like grasp his chest to a degree. It's like, oh, okay, I think he just got the wind knocked out of him. That's what I'm saying. The radio helps a little bit because you can also like hear what they're talking about. And Bram actually is like, oh, I think he'll be okay. I think he just got the wind knocked out of him. And thank God that's all it was. And then I went back to look at the all 22 and I posted a video of it on my Twitter this morning. Like Zach Ertz is wide open, right? Luke McCaffrey is wide open. I don't blame him for missing Luke because Luke is open towards the left side of the field on a crosser. But the guard and the tackle split, and it was like a parting of the sea right there. So Jayden sees that there's no color, so he decides to run. But right through that gap, you see Ertz is right there. He could have easily dumped it to Ertz for a first down. Jayden decided to take that ball and still run it. And that's kind of what frustrated me was seeing him do that because he doesn't need to take these hits. And Quinn likes to say it's tell the truth Monday. So what I'm hoping they did is they told the kid the truth, right? You need to dump this ball off to Ertz. And I posted the video clip this morning. It's been looked at 28,000 times, right? And then I get a bunch of people giving me a hard time, this and that. But like, you know what? He needs to realize that you're doing what you can to help your team, but what's not helping your team is you not being on the field. And
If
thank
you
God
get
it was
hurt.
only one snap.
Hmm. Yeah. If you get hurt, the jig is up. So you got to be able to protect yourself. I will say that I think that was his come to Jesus moment where the light bulb came on. And after that, he played better. So we all knew that it was going to take one good time for something like that to happen. And then it'll snap you out of it. So I'm hoping that realistically, that he keeps that in the back of his mind and he knows now, hey, look, dump it. I've got guys who can take the brunt of this. I am not a man eater. You know, those guys are. Let them do what they have to do.
Yeah, they've got they've got frankly bigger shoulder pads. Quarterbacks have tiny shoulder pads so that they can get that arm movement and throw that ball, right?
Hmm.
Just being real about it. And sorry, Zach Ertz is a lot bigger than Jayden. Let him take that hit. And we talked about it on our preview pod. Like, how many carries do you want to see from Jayden? And if he has more than that, then do we think it's going to be a loss? And I said 10 carries. And I'm not saying, Nostradamus, but he had 10 carries for 44 yards. And I went back and looked at every one of his runs. And there were a couple where he definitely could have hit a couple of guys. And if he just would have remained a passer instead of a ball carrier, Coach Quinn likes to talk about that during his press conferences. If Jayden continues to keep his eye down the field, then he can get someone, hit someone else that's open. But
Hmm.
a couple of those times he was running for his life because the Giants just flat out brought more guys than we could actually block. I mean, he had he was sacked 5 times for 16 yards. And I want to say 4 of them were in the first half. So whether it was Kingsbury and the offense making an adjustment or Jayden making an adjustment, I mean, only giving up 1 sack in the second half was definitely a lot better than what happened in the first. And a couple of sacks in the first half, they weren't on Jayden, in my opinion. There were a couple that were because he held on to it too long and should have just thrown the ball out. A couple of them were towards the sideline where he's kind of trying to scramble and buy some more time. Just throw the ball away. Live to play another day, because even though you're not taking a big hit, that guy's still wrapping your legs up. He's still wrapping your ankles up. What if I mean, we've seen people's feet get stuck in that actual, grass out there. I mean, harken back to Alex. Last thing we want to see is Jayden get a twisted ankle from a stupid tackle, right? And you can't put the kid in bubble wrap. You can't baby the kid. And I don't want to take one of his most valuable assets away from him. But that's just stuff he's going to learn from being in this league and just being a quarterback in general. If watching Tua get knocked out for the 3rd time in 2 years taught us anything, like, don't take the needless hit if you don't need to.
If you don't need to, totally agree, man. And I tell you what I like, Ted, is Jayden is getting better each week, and the team overall, I feel, is getting better. I know that we've got some deficiencies in defense that we've got to shore up, but with this being the second week, I told you guys that your grandmother's puzzle, that 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle, it's our edges are set now. As far as when you make a puzzle, that's what you start off with first. You start off with the edges, and then you work your way in. Well, I believe that we've seen what the team can do, and our edges are set as far as the pieces of the puzzle coming together. Now it's just a matter of continuing to work so that everything can match up. I honestly believe that we're going to be okay. We've just got to continue to work the puzzle. And the mere fact that we went into halftime and made halftime adjustments lets me know that they are working the pieces of the puzzle and putting it together.
I can't think of the last time a coach for this team actually made a halftime adjustment. I mean, maybe they made them, but they just didn't work.
Yeah, they weren't significant enough. Yeah,
they visibly made halftime adjustments, and they worked. And pivoting from Jayden a little bit here, Mike Davis. I'm sorry, Mike Davis, you got your ass torched this week. I mean, they were picking on him left and right, and I don't want to say I felt bad for the kid, but thinking to myself, okay, maybe we bring Forbes back out here, because this Mike Davis kid is just getting eaten up alive. His PFF grade was a 30.9 in coverage. I mean, he was just giving up every single thing that was thrown at him. And I'm thinking to myself, A, who is Mike Davis? Because I don't remember him playing week 1. And going back and looking at the stats, I don't think he played week 1. No, he didn't play week 1. So I'm thinking to myself, Igbenogany, Noah, let's just say Noah I. We'll just call him that because I'm tired of pronouncing his last name. Noah had the highest PFF grade last week. Like, why is Davis starting over him right now? Like, what did I miss? Maybe Noah had bubble guts during practice this week and just didn't perform like he should have, and Mike did, or Mike had a couple of don't sleeps and did a little bit better in practice, but he is obviously not doing well right now. So get his ass off that damn field. And thank God they made that adjustment and took him out. And maybe he'll come back. I don't know. But they made an adjustment. They put BSJ on Neighbors. And I'm sorry, but BSJ lifting his shirt up and showing his stomach or his abs after he makes a play, don't do that, man. I mean, this secondary is still suspect, right? We gave up.
Right.
No, not even close. You gave up, let's see here, not him specifically, but 127 yards to Neighbors. Right? Don't act like you guys are the Legion of Boom shutting people down, right? I mean, let's just be real about this. And this is actually what Dan Quinn had to say about his secondary.
After watching the tape, what were your thoughts on your pass coverage yesterday? Well, I thought it was better in terms of communication. First off, Ben, at the Tampa game, we had a couple routes that we didn't match, quite like we'd like. So that part was significantly better. To see us, stay on top of routes and do things. They did a nice job of trying to get some play action shots, but you can live with the ones that are comebacks, and even if it's a 10 or 15 yard comeback, but you're on top of the route. But the ones that go over the top of your head, those are the ones that you can't live with. And so I was pleased to see that come into life more. I felt the guy's speed in the game, and I thought Quan did a good job coming out of the middle field again. That is one of the real strengths for him.
They did look better this week than they did prior. And, maybe that's just because it's Daniel Jones and not a ton of true receiving threats. But Neighbors was targeted, what was it, 18 times? No, he was, a ridiculous amount of times. Let's see here. Yeah, actually 18 targets. He caught 10 of them for $127, right? But their longest catch was 28 yards, and that was more a run after the catch. I was frustrated to see a lot of one-on-one. Like, at what point do you bracket Neighbors if he's the only one beating you? We would see Jordan Reed get bracketed a ton, right, back in the day. But I don't ever see us doing that. So Joe Witt, I don't want to say is on the hot seat because they only gave up 18 points, but I need to see a little more out of this Joe Witt defense because I'm not seeing an aggressive style defense like I thought I was going to see so far at the beginning of this season.
Well, it goes back to what I said. We're putting the pieces to the puzzle together, and one of those pieces, for whatever reason, didn't play this week. Why didn't he play? I don't know. I don't know if you know, but the mere fact is maybe that piece didn't fit. And maybe, who knows, maybe this upcoming week, they may put that piece of the puzzle back in because they see that that's a round peg trying to go into a square. So you can't do that. So we're going to find out how they plan on moving things around a little bit. And for those who don't know, we're talking about Jamin Davis. He was a, what do you call it? A healthy scratch. So we'll figure out why they didn't play him. What do you think? What's your take on that, Ted?
Yeah, I was shocked. I'm at the tailgate, and the Commanders tweet out their inactives. And a couple of my boys are telling me, Jamin's not playing this week. I'm like, he wasn't on the injury report. He seemed okay. He was the highest graded PFF player on defense last week. We talked about how well he did, the limited snaps he got, and he's not playing. Like, then you had a bunch of smartasses say, oh, maybe he got a speeding ticket and this and that. Like, just stop with that negativity. Like, right? It's, who knows what happened. Well, post-game show, I'm sitting there listening, like, all right, coach, what happened? They didn't ask. Everyone's talking about Seibert making the 7 field goals and breaking records. Okay, I get it. Luckily today, coach answered that question, and this is what he had to say.
Jamin Davis was a healthy scratch yesterday. Just a little insight on the decision to make him inactive yesterday.
You got it, Candy. We actually put up 5 defensive tackles. We knew we were going to have like a pitch count, so to speak, on Johnny Newton. And so we felt with him 12 to 15 reps for his first game, we needed an extra big guy in the rotation for that game. So it was more by design. If Johnny was going to be up, then we were going to add an extra practice squad player up to have 5 defensive tackles as opposed to 5 DNs based on the limited playing time for Johnny. So that was by design.
Yeah. Did it make a difference? I don't know. But, I mean, they obviously know what they're doing. But what I do know is we sacked Daniel Jones once, right? They didn't seem to get a ton of pressure on DJ. Could Jamin have helped? I'd like to think so. I mean, he's got some speed, and
Definitely.
he dropped back 28 times. I think we could have potentially got to his ass at least a couple more times.
Well, we did get a sack, and I agree with you. Jamin has a speed on his side. He has a very fast first step, and I think going forward, as the competition gets harder, you really are going to need to figure out the pieces of the puzzle. And you're going to hear me say that a lot. because the puzzle it changes. So figuring out who can give you what when you need it is where this coaching staff is going to have to do right by its players as well as the team overall. So it's coming. It's coming. We just gotta continue to put faith in them, and the ship was righted, if you will, this week, albeit by field goals. I don't care. It was righted. So
It
now
was.
we got to look at more tape and figure out where to put the pieces of the puzzle to get this next win in Cincy.
Yeah, and we'll talk about Cincy later on this week. And the
Yeah.
defense, they gave up a decent amount of yards to the running back. I'm thinking, is this Saquon's little brother? Like, what's going on right now?
Yeah.
Devin Singletary,
He wore 26, right?
Yeah, averaging 5.9 yards a carry. Like, what is happening right now? And they're just gashing us at that point. And, John and Daron had a combined 1 tackle total. Right? And Daron, after the game, was saying, well, we were getting double teamed the majority of the game. And, well, maybe Daron was, but I'm looking here. John's rush defense was a 49.1 grade by PFF. And some people follow them, some people don't. But from what I was looking, I basically looked at all the runs, but I wanted to focus on all the runs that were 10 yards or more. And I'm seeing John just getting pushed out of the hole, and not by 2 people or 3 people, by 1 guy. And I don't know what's going on there. And it makes me think they're trying to bring Johnny Newton on. I don't want to say a little faster, but they're trying to bring him on maybe to try to fill in that gap, because I don't think John's really cutting it right now. And I hate to say that, but he didn't do the best in week 1. His tackling was a 28 in week 1. I felt like, they got some pressure, but we're missing things. And in this week, his rush defense wasn't the best. And luckily, when push came to shove and needed to make a stop, they made a stop and they actually got some pressure. But I was a little surprised at the lack of, I guess, stopping the run, considering it wasn't Saquon anymore. It's freaking, I can't even remember the guy's name. Devin Singletary.
Well, yeah, let's face it. Sometimes you have beasts of games, and other times the game eats you. So hopefully they can go back to the film room and ask him, John, what's going on? Are you feeling okay? Is everything all right? Because here's the thing. We are human and we go through things. And I know people are going to say, well, I'm paying you all this money. Yes, you are. And people still go through ups and downs in life, so I'm hoping that whatever the bug is that's on him, that he can shake that and get himself prepared for next week, because this is going to be a tough matchup and we really need him. But right now we're going to focus on our victory Monday, and we beat the Giants, and that's where we are.
Yeah, I want to focus on the positives and not the negatives. And, okay, yes, we had 7 field goals. Well, we won the game. This is actually the second time in the NFL that a team has scored 3 touchdowns, given up 0 touchdowns, and still lost the game. The last time was 1989, when I think the Vikings beat the Rams, right? Like, this doesn't happen that often. This was Tress Way did not have a single punt in this game. We had
amazing
7 scoring drives. I think the last time that happened was 2021. I mean, there was a lot of things that happened this week that we're just, frankly, not used to. And maybe it was Jayden having his waffles for breakfast. And I actually made a fried chicken and waffle sandwich that I'm going to be making every home game. But actually, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do it every game. That's going to get expensive, and my blood sugar, and I'm probably going to gain a couple more pounds if I keep doing all those carbs for breakfast in the morning. But if that's what it takes, I'll put some weight on for our fellow fans. I'll have a fried chicken and waffle sandwich until it doesn't work. But
well, make sure you save me one at least, brother. Dang.
Stop by. I get you one. We'll
I'm gonna stop by. But all right, okay.
0 punts. I mean, I honestly cannot remember the last time we had no punts from Tress. I mean, it's freaking phenomenal. The problem was we had 10 penalties for 69 yards. And it wasn't the fact that we had 10 penalties, it was where we had those penalties. We had 3 false starts within the 10-yard line. And that just,
Unacceptable.
I mean, it just cheddar bobs you, man. That just shoots you right in the foot. I mean, it
Yeah.
just,
Cheddar bob.
it's horrible. And this is actually what DQ had to say about the false starts.
I know you've talked quite a bit about the pre and post snap penalties.
Yes.
But are you able to put your finger on why the false starts in particular keep popping up, and how do you go about fixing something like that?
Yeah, those are the ones. So I would call like the pre and post snap ones, like they'll fall under discipline, Nikki. And those are the ones that we have to get rid of, because there could be a check at the line of scrimmage and you jumped, like, hey man, like we're going to get into the best play, have the discipline to stay in it. Like most things, more practice at it for sure. Even if you have to check in and out of a play that you don't need to for that simple purpose of doing it right. More often I found the false starts are, I'm wanting to go too quickly. I'm just get the check, get to the call to go. I can live. You don't want them, but I can live with the combative ones. I can live with a holding or a DPI. I didn't like the one on Nick on the opening kickoff, but when you're trying to be physical, that part I can live with. The pre and the post snap ones, that's a no bueno for me. So we'll really, kind of focus in on that. The false starts were the ones that set us back in this game from a penalty point of view.
It's like, okay, yeah, we had 7 field goals, and then you got people yelling and screaming. Right? You guys realize we won 1 home game last season, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first game, that's the only win that we got to see at home. All right. I don't care if we kick 10 field goals. As long as we get the damn home win, I mean, that's what matters to me, in my opinion. I mean, obviously, you're going on the road, you're seeing every single game. Considering how much money we're spending on season tickets and the fact that they raised them again on us, I'd like to see more than 1 win. Right? You hear about like some of those players where they get suspended a game and what their game check is for that 1 game or how much that suspension costs them. Like, I like to think of it the other way, right? My season tickets cost me, I want to say $6,000. So I paid $6,000 to see 1 win last year. That's the way I break it down. So far, I'm paying X amount of dollars to see this win in person. I'd like to see more than that. So if it just means we get in the red zone and we got to kick field goals with a guy that, oh, by the way, that just met his teammates to a degree on Wednesday, that was kicking field goals at a pine tree with his wife filming him 3 days a week, not on a practice field or a high school field, at a pine tree, working to hit the pine tree with the football, and his wife and his daughter there cheering him on. That's where they got this guy. If he's the one that wins a game for us, then I'm fine with it. It's a win. Who cares how you get it?
I'm agreed total 110% with you. So let me ask you this. Do you think that did he sign for like league minimum, or is he over that, or what do you think his salary is? Because the fact that you said that tells me that that's bare bones, nothing fancy. You're just trying to hone in your skill, and if you can hit that tree with the ball, then you've got something working. And not only that, I call him systematic Seisman, because to me, everything worked out. And we saw him when he was practicing with the Jets, and he was obviously doing a phenomenal job, but they already had their kicker. And look who they went back to and shook the tree, and he falls out of it. And I believe we found our kicker. If he continues this, there's no ifs, ands, buts about it. We found him. And a lot of people were saying, well, how is he under pressure? Well, we saw and we see, and I look forward to seeing him do even more for us.
Yeah, he signed a 1-year deal for $1.125 million. His cap hit is $930,000. So it's a 1-year deal, and he's a free agent next year. And hey, that's fine by me. I don't know if that's minimum because he's a 4-year vet or whatever it may be. But the fact of the matter is, They made a mistake with Cade York. They traded for him. It was a conditional 7th. It didn't work out. Unlike the last regime, when they would trade for guys or draft guys, and I hate to bring up the Cheeseman example again, but to me, it's the best one. They stuck behind them no matter what. So they would have, the last regime would have stuck behind York no matter what, even though he's just kicking the ball, missing wide left, wide right, and kicking it out of bounds. They realized, nope, this ain't going to work. We saw this kid, Seibert, in New Jersey when we were up there in the rain for that joint practice, and he was drilling them, right? He's not on anyone's radar right now. Let's just bring his ass here. And guess what? The guy freaking delivered. Oh, and on top of that, this also happened.
Hey! Awesome job tonight. When it came in winning time at the end, I said that's where it goes down, all right? Defense, big 4th down stop, offense going right down the field. But today, the story of it was only one guy. Austin, where you at, bro? As a true competitor, 6 field goals is the team record. So you want, wait for it. So you want a little distance between that record. So 7 field goals today, man. Team win, man. Favorite part of the team, man. Awesome job, man. Proud of you guys. All right. Bad, all right. Find ways to win. All right. And that's exactly who's standing in this room. All right. Well done.
Young man got the game ball. He found a way to win. His first game as a Washington Commander, and he breaks the freaking franchise record. Right. I mean, just talk about, ice in your veins. Just, I cannot even imagine. You don't even know all of your teammates' names, and you're going out there and you're lining up for your 7th freaking field goal to win this game. And at the end of the game, the Giants didn't even try and call a timeout to stop us so they would still have time left on the clock. They saved that timeout to try and ice Seibert, right? Thinking, this he's literally kicking at a pine tree. We can get in his head. Well, he already made 6 of them. Well, yeah, it didn't work then. And on that last one, right through the uprights, man. And it was freaking beautiful. That was your end zone. It was just beautiful to see.
Yep. I made a video about it, and I had a great time. Systematic Seibert. That's what I call him. So yeah, man, it was awesome.
So did you watch the kick, or did you just close your eyes and wait for the cheers or the screams at that point?
No, I watched it. I gotta watch it. I need to see that the snap, the hold, the kick, it's up, it's good. I needed all of that, and like I said, I recorded, and everyone could see all 32 basically after he made it, with me yelling and smiling from ear to ear.
I'm not gonna lie, there have been times in the past where I can't watch the kick. I'm just sitting down in my seat and waiting to hear. Yeah, I'm too antsy about it. I can't do it. And then I hear the people yelling or screaming. It's been hard to do that lately in our stadium because there have been a lot of away team fans, so you don't know who's cheering for what. And there actually were a decent amount of blue on the visitor sideline. And this was from a Washington Post article that Nikki Javala had 2 days ago. And it said here, let's see, let me go back. Season ticket sales, we have lagged for years. Washington once led the NFL in average paid attendance, but has ranked at or near the bottom in recent years. The legal entanglement with ticket brokers who purchase a chunk of season tickets and flip them to opposing fans has consumed much of Harris's first year and remains an ongoing project. We're unraveling all that, Harris added. You really don't want huge swaths of your tickets being taken. There were some contractual issues, so we're dealing with all that. So the fact of the matter is you got brokers that are buying and are contractually allowed to buy all these tickets because the last regime was so desperate to get butts in seats, they sold these to outside brokers outside our region. That's why you are seeing buses of Eagles fans coming down and buses of Giants fans coming here and other teams coming here. So before you bitch and moan about these guys coming in, this ownership group cannot stop that. right now. They can't do anything about that at this point. But best be sure when those contracts are done, they ain't getting renewed. Those tickets are going to go back in the pool to our fan base again. And I hope you guys buy them up instead of these other guys trying to buy them up and gobble them up. Because there were a couple times, especially when, you know, those 3 false starts, those Giants fans thought it was them. It wasn't them. It was just our guys being undisciplined. But they like to think it was them. So obviously they started to cheer a little bit more. And I'm sitting there putting my hands up and down like, shut up, shut up. Then I turn and look. It's coming from the other sideline. Damn.
Well, I agree with you that I was having my hands waving like crazy to be quiet. And I think this brings a good time to break out the quiet offense at work signs. And if I would have been thinking, I would have texted that. But when you're in the moment, you don't think that. But that needs to go up the chain to get the soundboard people to quiet us down, because there were a lot of our fans, you know, that were yelling. And so we got to get that taken care of to help our team when they are on offense. And when they're on defense, yell your butt off. Exactly. But a lot of that, Ted, was our fans, bro. I mean, don't get me wrong. They had a nice swath of white and blue jerseys in the stands, of which, okay, they're supposed to have that. I don't have a problem with that.
No, you travel to away games. We flooded Tampa. It's going to happen. It would just be, you know, it'd just be nice if it wasn't all the time. It was okay. And yes, it was definitely some of our fans. And the video like the Jumbotron people, there were 2 times they showed the Cowboys getting their ass beat and that score. And we were on offense. Like, you know, you were going to get a loud pop when you put that on there. And no one is forcing you to put that on there. So if you're going to put it on there when we're on defense. Don't put it on there when we're on offense. And yes, it's a TV timeout, but the guys are in the huddle trying to get the play.
And you
can see Jayden covering his freaking helmet holes at that point. And, but his helmet stayed on, by the way. Didn't fall off once. So,
I saw that. He tightened that chin strap. Yeah, he tightened the chin strap.
Jumping back into it, do not show the score of the Cowboys game when we're on offense. That is just idiotic. Come on, guys. I'm going to have to text him about that too. I'm not trying to get riled up. Going to get the blood pressure high again. But it's just
easy, Ted. Easy.
Little stuff like that, man. It's like, I'm going to enjoy the win. And like you said, we got the pieces of the puzzle we're trying to put together. And, you know, we're getting there. And speaking of pieces, so we don't have a power rankings yet, but we do have PFF scores. So for you, just off of what you watched, give me one player that you think had a top 5 PFF grade on defense and one on offense. Give me your defense first.
Defense, Luvu. I say Luvu, and then I say for offense, B-Rob.
All right, so for defense, you got Luvu, and for offense, you got B-Rob.
Yeah, so, Battle Ram Rob.
For defense, we'll start with that first. What? So Luvu, believe it or not, Luvu actually was 8th on the list. So overall, his grade was a 59.3. But he did seem to play better this week than he did last week. Last week, though, they actually gave him a 59.2, so it wasn't much better overall. He had a higher pass rush grade this week, which is probably why you're thinking that, and he actually had a higher tackling grade this week. But who did kick ass this week and was number 1 was Bobby Wagner. Bobby had an 89.3. Overall, highest grade. His rush defense was a 92.2. His tackling was an 81. I mean, last week, we talked about it. His tackling was a 48, and overall, he was a 56, right? Bobby, he must have got the cobweb shaken off of him. And I want to say it was Lake Lewis. Lake talked to Bobby and asked him, I guess, how hot it was in Tampa. And Bobby joked and said something about how hot it was and said, I guess I should have played more in preseason. And I kind of think that might have been a jab at everyone saying you should have played in preseason type of thing. But Bobby had a heck of a game, and it was awesome to see. And if That guy can do it and go out there and bust his ass. I'd love to see some of our other guys because that guy is just a true vet that's going to be a first ballot Hoffer.
He sets the
B-Rob,
tone. Yeah.
he definitely does. He definitely does. And on your B-Rob answer, definitely got that one. B-Rob is
All
top
right. I'm one
three.
for one. I'll take that.
1 for 1 ain't bad, man. That's what we are right now. We're 1-1. I mean, averaging almost 8 yards a carry. I mean, B-Rob, he was running angry, man. He was running like a man possessed. His yards after contact were ridiculous. He was just dragging people left and right. And he actually said, and I probably should have cut this up during his press conference, but the audio was a little bad to hear. He basically said, you see Jayden out there as a rookie, and I'm paraphrasing, just putting it all on the line, trying to get yards. How can he not do the same thing? Right. And it's just hearing B-Rob say that, JD has earned the respect of this locker room. And you got guys that want to fight for him because he's going out there and he is putting his body on the line. He is doing what he needs to will us to win. And the last time I felt that whenever we had a drive, no matter what it was, that we actually had a chance to actually score was 2012 with Robert. I haven't felt this way in a long time, right? And even though we had stupid false start penalties and other stuff, Jayden's ability to use his legs and for the fact that the defense just has to respect it, it's just why I think, man, we got a shot right now. Not to go to the playoffs, right? But we got a shot of actually having a real quarterback. And I haven't felt this way in a long time. And then you got people saying this and that, and he's the future. And you like to talk about tempering your expectations. And I just think about a couple of those games. And I went back to look at Sam Howell's stats. There are a couple of games last year where Sam actually looked decent. But Jayden has the intangible Sam didn't. And he is making strides and improving week to week. A couple of those passes to Noah Brown, and hats off to you for saying, do you think Noah's going to be here this week? Because Noah played this week, and I think Crowder was the healthy scratch. Yeah, Crowder was a scratch to get that spot to Noah. And I was actually surprised it was Crowder because Crowder, I thought, returned punts for us. I don't even remember who returned punts this week at that point. So it is what it is, but Noah
possibly Eckler. Possibly Eckler, I think.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and look. I don't think it was Austin, but regardless, I mean, just seeing Noah out there, but more importantly, Jayden going through his progressions. After he took that nasty hit, and after I feel that they made some adjustments at halftime, you can literally see Jayden looking 1, 2, 3, boom, getting the ball out. And he wasn't really doing that in week 1 against Tampa. And
Go ahead.
The Giants were blitzing him.
Yeah. Well, for me, it goes back to you need a bigger body receiver. No disrespect to Jamin Crowder. No disrespect to him, but you got to have a bigger body. When times like these, little guys, yeah, okay. But I think now you really need someone who has the foot speed, the body size, and a great pair of hands to make things happen. And so we know that going forward, Brown is going to be the guy. He's going to be he was that guy in Dallas, and he's going to be that guy for the Commanders.
Yeah. Jameson's 5'9", 177 according to the team. And Brown 6'2", 225. But the catches Brown made, he was wide open. I mean, he had beautiful passes right down that seam, just kind of on a little skinny post, just beating that safety. I mean, granted, it wasn't a ton, but when we needed the yards to get down that field in that 2-minute drive, Jayden got him for us. And it wasn't the dinking and the dunking. And I understand Kingsbury's trying to get Jayden in a groove, and he's trying to get him to just get a better feel for the game. But a lot of these line of scrimmage wide receiver screens, they're not cutting it. He can make these intermediate throws, right? Let's get him in a rhythm, but let's not just make everything at the line of freaking scrimmage. Right. And he did have a better next gen stats with his passing. I think last week he was at 1 yard or more. I want to say this week he was averaging around 3. I got it someplace, but regardless, he was going down the field more. And he had 23 or 29 for 226. I mean, Jayden wasn't just looking at the line, and he actually got Zach Ertz involved, and he could have had Zach a couple more times. So he's developing. And that's what I'd like to say is, you know what? We won. It was ugly. But just imagine when this kid develops more,
Mm-hmm.
it ain't going to be ugly. It's going to start looking prettier and prettier each week.
And we are starting to see it ever so slowly. It's coming together. Each week, he's going to get better. Each week, I believe Kingsbury is going to get better with him. And they will probably be adding more plays to the playbook each week because all these teams run a different type of defense. So it's going to happen, bro. It's going to happen, and just be ready for it. Because if we can have another game where Tress doesn't have to come out, oh my gosh, look out, bro. Look out. It's going to be just awesome. So, yeah. Well, I hear the music playing in the background, which lets me know that we are coming to a close. So, thank you guys for listening. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you to Don't Sleep Energy, because now I'm going to need one because a brother is tired. So, I need to stay up. So, hey, Ted, thanks for your contributions as well. And thank you to the listeners. Remember, guys, you rep it hard, but you don't rep it at all. Rally Captain, Tailgate Ted. Until the next one, peace.